I never thought my life would be taken from me and handed to someone else without my permission, but that is exactly what happened the day my sister's baby was placed in my arms. I was 24 when my sister Emily showed up at our parents' house holding a newborn she could barely look at. She was crying, saying she wasn't ready, saying she needed time, saying she had dreams she couldn't abandon. My parents didn't even hesitate before turning to me. They said I was the stable one, the responsible one, the one who always understood what family means. That night, they didn't ask me. They decided for me. Within a week, I was living in their house again, not as a daughter, but as the default mother to a child that wasn't mine. Emily disappeared into her life like nothing had changed, while I stayed behind with sleepless nights, bottles, doctor visits, and responsibilities I never agreed to carry. Whenever I tried to speak up, my mother would say I was helping the family. My father would say I was doing the right thing. And whenever I looked exhausted, they would remind me that Emily was finding herself. I stopped correcting them after a while. It became easier to just survive. Years passed like that. I raised Lily, my niece, through every stage of her childhood. I packed her lunches, helped with homework, stayed up through fevers, and attended school meetings like I was the only parent she had. Emily visited occasionally, always smiling for photos, always leaving before the hard parts. To outsiders, we looked like a normal family. But I knew the truth. I was a placeholder for someone else's responsibility. What hurt most wasn't the exhaustion. It was how easily my role was accepted without gratitude, without acknowledgement, as if my life had always been meant for this. Then everything started changing when Lily turned 18. She became quiet, observant, and thoughtful in a way that made me nervous. She started asking questions about her childhood, about why things felt complicated, about why I always looked tired in old photographs. I answered carefully, never wanting to poison her view of the people she still called family. I told myself she would understand one day. I just didn't know when that day would come. The turning point arrived on her graduation week. My parents insisted on organizing a large celebration. Emily returned as well, suddenly proud and involved, acting like she had been present all along. My parents were glowing, telling everyone about our daughter's success, while conveniently blending roles and rewriting history. I stayed in the background, like I always had. But Lily was different. She didn't smile the same way anymore. On the day of her graduation ceremony, the auditorium was full. Family, friends, teachers, everyone watching as students crossed the stage one by one. When Lily's name was finally called, she walked up slowly, holding her diploma, and stood at the microphone. At first, her speech was normal. She thanked her teachers, her classmates, even her family. Then she paused. The room shifted. She looked directly toward our section and said something I will never forget. She said she wanted to talk about the person who raised her. Not the person who gave birth to her. The person who stayed. My heart stopped. Lily continued speaking, calmly but firmly, explaining how she had been raised by someone who was never officially recognized, how love had been given without credit, and how sacrifice had been treated like an expectation instead of a choice. The room grew silent in a way that felt heavy. People started turning their heads. My parents' expressions changed instantly. Emily froze in her seat, and I just sat there, unable to move, because I realized Lily was finally saying everything I had spent years swallowing. She didn't accuse anyone. She didn't raise her voice. She simply told the truth. When she finished speaking, she looked directly at me and said thank you. Not to the crowd. To me. The applause that followed was loud, but distant in my ears. I couldn't even process it properly. All I could feel was the weight of years I had carried alone finally being seen in a single moment. After the ceremony, my parents tried to approach me, but there was nothing left to argue about. No denial that could erase what had just been said in front of everyone. Emily didn't speak at all. She just walked away. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was living inside someone else's decision. I felt like I had been acknowledged. And as I stood there watching Lily smile with her diploma in her hands, I finally understood something I had never been taught. Real love does not require silence. And the truth, when it finally speaks, does not need permission.